Opinion, the place for Celtics talk. It's Cattles on Causeway.
What's happening? Thanks for joining me on this Wednesday night pre-Thanksgiving live post-game podcast. Cattles on Causeway with you, here to talk about the Celtics beating the Bucks and really the Celtics surviving against the Bucks tonight. This one looked like it was going to be an easy win with about 5-6 minutes left, but the Celtics, of course, they gave us a little bit of a heart attack, but they finished it. And that's really all that matters, is that the fact they finished this basketball game tonight, they found that way to win over the final couple of minutes. And the first thing I would say is this, and it's rather simple. It was a complete team effort. When you watch this game tonight, it was a complete team effort. The Celtics played 8 guys, 8-guy rotation, right? They treated this like it was a playoff game. Joe Mazzulla treated this game like it was the postseason. He only played 8 guys. And you could look at every single solitary guy that played tonight, and you could say he did something to help this team win. It was a complete team effort. 7 of those 8 guys had double figures. 7 of the 8 with double figures. The only guy that didn't have double figures was the guy that I actually bet a same-game parlay on, Drew Holiday. I had Holiday scoring 15 points tonight on my same-game parlay. He screwed me over. But Holiday was the only guy that failed to get to double digits, which, of course, is kind of ironic since he's the former Buck. But 7 guys score in double figures. I thought offensively the ball movement was terrific for most of tonight. I thought the offensive patience was also something that really jumped out at me. They were patient with the basketball. They were patient to make the right pass. They were patient to find the open man. And that patience paid off over and over and over again. The other thing I liked about what the Celtics did offensively tonight was the fact that they took advantage of mismatches, especially in that first half. How many times did you see Jayson Tatum take advantage of a mismatch in that first half? Whether it was Beauchamp, who he abused, Beasley, who he abused, Middleton, he also abused, and they just kept taking advantage of those mismatches, which I thought got this offense off to an incredible start in that first half. They kept driving. They kept attacking. Jaylen Brown. Let's talk about Jaylen here for a couple of minutes. Jaylen was criticized after the game in Charlotte, and he should have been criticized. He made a number of mistakes late in that game. They ran their offense through Jaylen for some reason. He wasn't very good. He was in foul trouble. He played clunky against the Hornets on Monday night. And when you make the money Jaylen makes, and when you're supposed to be the second best player on a title contending team, when you have a game like Jaylen had against Charlotte, you're going to catch some bullets, right? You're going to catch some strays. You're going to catch some direct shots. And so Jaylen was criticized after that Hornets game. I thought tonight Jaylen Brown played his most complete game of the season. I thought Brown played one of the most complete games I've seen him play as a Celtic over the past couple of years. And the reason why I say that is not because of the shots that he made in the first quarter. It's not because of the points that he scored, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that 26 points means one of his better games this season. No, it was the way he handled himself. It was the fact that Jaylen Brown, yes, JB, had 8 assists with only 1 single solitary turnover. When Jaylen Brown can get you 8 assists in 1 turnover, that is one of the most complete offensive games that Jaylen Brown has had as a Celtic. 8 assists, 1 turnover. I thought the Kristaps Porzingis connection again was there. It's rather obvious that KB and JB have a great relationship on the floor. It was reported this week that they have a good relationship off the floor. They live in the same place. And I've never seen Jaylen Brown more comfortable passing the rock than he is comfortable passing to Kristaps Porzingis. He's throwing alley-oops. He's catching them on backdoor cuts to the bucket. KP is catching JB on backdoor cuts on the baseline. That connection is real. That is a thing. KP and JB enjoy playing alongside each other, and they have this immediate connection and chemistry that I think is going to be very difficult for any team to defend when this Celtics team really gets it rolling. Because we have to remember that they're still new to each other. They still added Kristaps and Drew Holiday, right? They're still new to each other. This nucleus is still trying to figure it out. But KP and JB have been terrific. And Jaylen Brown, I can't say enough about him. His defense was good. the thing I would say about JB's offense was that he also was aggressive. Tatum was aggressive, which I'll get to in a minute, but JB was aggressive. And JB is at his best when he knows what he's going to do with the basketball when he catches it, and he just does it. When Brown is decisive and makes a strong move to the bucket before guys can gather around him, before he dribbles into a triple team, the less that Brown gets into his bag with the dribble show, the better he is. And tonight I thought he was incredibly decisive. He would catch the basketball and he would know what he was going to do. Now, a couple of times, of course, he had the dribble show. That's going to happen. But I thought for most of the night, Brown was under control. He was decisive. He had good vision. He shared the basketball, and he mostly made the right play. But it was that attacking. It was that attacking over and over and over again. By the way, Cattle's on Causeway. Welcome in on this Wednesday night. Historically, this is a drinking night. The night before Thanksgiving, I decided to do a live post-game podcast. Yes, I need help. There's something wrong with me, but I appreciate every single one of you that are going to stop by during this post-game podcast. And don't forget to leave a comment. I got my guy right here, Boston Swag, leaving a comment. You guys can leave your comment right there. I'll throw it up on the screen. We can go back and forth. Yo, Nick, go get him. You're on fire, brother. Thank you. Still riding shotgun. Appreciate you, Boston Swag. So if you want to give us that thumbs up, you want to drop a comment, you want to subscribe, feel free to do so. All right, let's get back to the game here. The Celtics, when we talk about the season, whether or not they're going to be a true title contender, and if they can beat good teams in big games and big series, they have to prove that they can survive without Tatum on the floor for at least a couple of stretches. You're going to need Tatum in the postseason to be the best player on the court if you want to win a title. But you need to prove when Tatum is off the floor for a 3-minute stretch, for a 3.5-minute stretch, 4-minute stretch, however long he's off the floor, can you prove to the opposition that you can still score buckets, come up with stops, and not completely lose your ass? And tonight, the Celtics proved that. You go back to that first half, right? The first stint, Tatum goes on the bench. Tatum sits. And the Celtics, they get plus out of it. They get plus out of it in the second quarter. By halftime, the Celtics were a +3 when Tatum was on the bench. If you're a +3, +4, I don't even care if you're just neutral. When Tatum is sitting, if you can break even, you're winning. And tonight, in the first half, the Celtics were a +3 with Tatum on the bench. That makes a big difference. By the end of the game, they were a +4. So they were a +3 in the first half. They were a +1 in the second half. They finished with a +4 with Tatum sitting on the bench tonight. You're +4 without Tatum, you win by 3 points. Do the math. It's simple. It makes sense. So you saw guys step up. Again, complete team effort, right? You saw Al Horford step up. He was excellent tonight. 11 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, some really good defense, outside, inside, doing it all. Al shows up in big games, man. He balled out against Philadelphia. He balls out tonight against the Bucks, coming off the bench, giving this team a big lift. 11, 8, and 6 from Big Al. He was awesome. Derek White, 13, 4, and 5, had a couple of loose turnovers there late in this game. But I thought that White, he hit some big buckets. The Bucks were trying to make a charge. They'd hit a couple of buckets. They'd knock down a couple of threes. White would come down, and he'd knock his own shot down, right? So he finishes with 13, 4, and 5. But those 13 points, a lot of those points came at crucial times during this game tonight. So I thought Derek White was really good. The Celtics, they shot 17 of 42 from 3. 17 of 42 from 3. You're going to win most of those games. They shot the 3 ball. They were especially great shooting the 3 ball in the second half. Let's get to Charlie here. Charlie says, Jaylen continues to impress me, developing great chemistry with everyone. Loved the assist. I think Jaylen's been up and down for this season. I really would say that. He's had a couple of games where he's looked great. He's had a down game or two. Then he'll come back. He'll look great again. Then he'll have a down game. I would like to see more consistency with Jaylen when it comes to taking care of the basketball, making crisp basketball decisions, the right basketball play. I would like to see more consistency from Jaylen with that. Don't force shots. I thought he forced some shots in that Charlotte game. I'd like to see less of that. But Jaylen was awesome tonight. He was awesome. He was the best player I thought on the floor for long stretches. Him and Al Horford were the two guys that really stood out to me, and maybe that's just because Tatum was doing Tatum things. for some stretches as well tonight. But 17 of 42 from three-point land, that is just a very, very good number. If you can shoot high 30s, low 40s, you're going to win most games. And we know the Celtics, they love taking threes. If they're making most of their threes, if they're hitting about 37, 38%, they're going to win most of those games. But here's the thing. I thought a lot of their three-pointers came off of the right basketball play. I thought we saw more paint touches tonight, whether it was post-ups, dribble drives, and kickouts. Those are the things. See, people get wrapped up in this idea of, how many threes the Celtics take. It's not how many threes the Celtics take to me. It's how good are those looks. And are you doing the right things to create those threes? And what I mean by that is you get better threes by touching the paint. Dribble drives, kickouts, right? Post-ups, draw a double, kick it out. If the Celtics take 40 threes in a night and 30 of those threes come off of paint touches, that's a fantastic night. Even if they make 10 of those 40, they still made the right basketball play. It's about the quality of the shot. And people get wrapped up with these numbers. Don't get wrapped up in the numbers. Look at how they're creating their threes. And I thought tonight they created a lot of their threes in the right way. Ball movement, swinging from side to side. How many times did we see an extra pass tonight? And it's because of that, the Celtics finished with 27 assists. That's a fantastic number. 27 dimes tonight for the C's. You'll take that every single freaking day of the week. So 27 assists, 17 of 42 from three. Those two numbers, they're married to each other. There weren't a ton of pull-up threes. There weren't a ton of sidestep threes. There weren't a ton of dribble, take a three, a step back like James Harden, those awful freaking Houston days when I couldn't stand watching him play basketball no matter how good he was. There weren't those kinds of threes tonight, or at least not many of them. So they were creating their threes. Let's go to Luis. Luis pops on here. The comment, again, you can leave your comment down here in the comment section. I'll get to it. Luis says, feels like the C's are still one high IQ player away late in these games. Yeah, I'll get to the late portion of the game because the Celtics almost gave this one away. And I was concerned that I'd be doing this post game the night before Thanksgiving, talking about the Celtics blowing a gigantic lead late at home against the Bucks. Fortunately, that did not happen. We'll talk about some of the stuff that went wrong, but I want to highlight what went right because it was a W tonight. Also, don't forget to like if you're watching, if you're listening. All the likes, the more likes means more eyeballs. We'll drive these numbers up. If you guys like and comment all those things, we will drive the numbers up during this post game. That's how YouTube works. The Celtics defense. I thought until the fourth quarter, the Celtics defense was really good tonight. I thought they were recovering well, right? Their scrambles were good. They were contesting shots consistently. I thought they were communicating. A lot of times you would see guys on a string. Defensively, they played really well. I mean, they held Milwaukee to under 45% field goal percentage tonight. The first half, the first quarter, right from the jump. I mean, you go back to the first half. I pulled these numbers. You go back to that first half. Do you know what Giannis and Dame Lillard shot combined in that first half? Giannis and Dame shot 7 of 24 from the floor in that first half. The Celtics eliminated the Bucks' two best offensive players. They just eliminated them. Drew Holiday, who had a rough night offensively, I thought he played well defensively, especially in the first half against Giannis. And how about that? How about that confidence from Joe Mazzulla? You want to talk about, the Marcus Smart versus Drew Holiday comparisons, and we know that Holiday is a terrific defensive player, but you can put Holiday on Giannis. You didn't put Marcus Smart on Giannis very often, but this team is comfortable putting Holiday on Giannis, which allows KP to play Lopez. And then you look at all the matchups across the floor and everything kind of fits. Holiday's ability to defend much bigger guys consistently and continuously. His ability to defend Giannis tonight. His ability to defend Joel Embiid in Philadelphia. I mean, that's crazy. It allows other guys to match up better. So I thought Holiday defensively against Giannis did a really good job. Against 7 of 24 in that first half from Dame and Giannis combined. That's great stuff. That is great defense from the Celtics. Recovering, communicating, contesting, scrambling, ball pressure, all of those things. I thought defensively the Celtics were intact tonight. Fantastic job. Let's talk about Jayson Tatum. So Tatum's first half is my favorite Tatum. My favorite Tatum of all the Tatums that we see is the Jayson Tatum that is attacking, that is relentless, that is going to the bucket over and over and over again, right? Straight line drives, post-ups in the paint. And we saw so much of that in the first half. He was attacking. He took advantage of Beauchamp. He took advantage of Chris Middleton. He took advantage of everybody who tried to get in front of him. Beasley, he took advantage of. And that Tatum, that first half Tatum is unstoppable. That attacking Tatum is unstoppable. He's stronger than he's ever been. He can finish through traffic, finishes at the rim. He has poise with the basketball now. He takes his time when he backs dudes down because he understands that he's stronger. He can hit you with the fadeaway. He can hit you with the drive. He can hit you with so many different elements of offense. Tatum is at his best when he is a three-level scorer. He's knocking down threes when he's got good looks. He's knocking down some mid-range shots at the nail off of some post looks, and he's attacking the rim, and he's beating teams in the restricted area. If Tatum attacks all three levels offensively, he's incredibly difficult to stop. He's incredibly difficult to limit. And so Tatum's offense in the first half, I thought, was tremendous. I did think for most of the second half, he got away from that. He got away from attacking over and over and over again. And I would just wish, and this is nitpicking, because Jayson Tatum right now is one of the league leaders in the MVP race. He's been awesome. But if you're to nitpick something from Tatum, don't forget to give that thumbs up, by the way, while you're watching. If you want to nitpick something on Tatum, it's sometimes he goes away from things that are almost too easy. And tonight, I thought in the second half, again, first half, he was attacking consistently. He was tremendous. In the second half, he kind of started to float away from the bucket. And he took a couple of tough threes. He forced a three here or there. I would just like to see Tatum through the first quarter, through the fourth quarter, just keep attacking. Just don't stop. Be relentless. And of course, he's got to take a breath every once in a while, but you understand what I'm saying. The first half, it was nonstop post-ups and straight line drives. Second half, he got away from it a little bit, but he was good. 23, 11, and 4. And Tatum gets it. When I watch Tatum play this year, even if he's not executing perfectly, I feel like Tatum is understanding the game at the highest level that he has understood the game throughout his NBA career. He understands what the defense is doing. It almost reminds me of Tom Brady. Remember Brady when he said, I know what the defenses are going to do. I feel like I have the answers to the test. Watching Tatum play, it looks like he has the answers to the test. He understands what teams are trying to do against him, and he understands how to best attack that. And there's a patience to his game. There's this nonstop hunger that I see from Tatum for longer stretches this year than what we have seen in past years. And I love that. He's embracing the challenge. He has mostly been fully engaged on both ends of the floor for most of this season. Let's go to Ike. Ike said that I rock in an earlier comment, but he said, I was out and about this evening, so I missed the game. Well, that's unfortunate, Ike. You might want to watch the first, 43 minutes. The last 5 minutes, not as great. But it was a great game, and I thought the TD Garden showed up in full force. Fantastic effort by the fans tonight. They were loud from the jump. It was a playoff atmosphere. They set the tone. They brought the energy, and I think that helped the guys out there bring the energy. Let's talk about some of the other guys before we get into the Celtics letting go of the rope a little bit tonight late in this game yet again. Let's talk about Pritchard and Hauser. Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, 20 points combined. They shot 8 of 12 from the floor. They shot 4 of 7 from 3. They gave this team great minutes. Sam Hauser with the alley-oop and the semi kind of sort of raising the roof. How about Jaylen Brown throwing an alley-oop to Sam Hauser? I didn't see that coming. I don't even know if Hauser saw it coming. But Sam Hauser and Peyton Pritchard giving this team good minutes. Again, 20 points, 8 of 12 from the floor combined, 4 of 7 from 3. And Missoula, as I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, this live post game that you're joining me for, the night before Thanksgiving, gobble, gobble, happy turkey day. 8-man rotation tonight. We didn't see Svi. We didn't see Lamar Stevens. We didn't see Cornette. 8-man rotation tonight. And Hauser, Pritchard, and Horford were fantastic off the bench. I'll tell you this. If Horford, Hauser, and Pritchard give you those kinds of minutes in the postseason with this team's, top 5, with this team's starting 5, if you get those kinds of minutes from those 3 guys off the bench, this team is going to be incredibly difficult to beat. If you just get some of those minutes from those 3 guys, it's a terrific team. We know about the top 5. We know about the top 6. If Hauser and Pritchard could give them solid minutes night in and night out, and you add another piece, maybe at the deadline, via buyout or trade, now you've got a full solid 8 to 9-man rotation that is no joke. So shout out to Pritchard and Hauser. All right, let's get to the point where the Celtics let go of the rope. We just gave you, 20 minutes of solid, positive Celtics talk, right? But Jaylen Brown was awesome. Jayson Tatum was good. Horford was terrific. Hauser, Pritchard chipped in. Derek White was good. Holiday's defense on Giannis in the first half. We gave you all the good. But let's get to the point where the Celtics let go of the rope at the end of this game. I thought, again, we saw some of the old bad habits creep in. The offensive pace slowed down. And when they slow down offensively, they get in a rut. And I thought we saw that pace. We saw them kind of slog. Now, some of that had to do with Milwaukee's defense, playing physical and, contesting and ball pressure. But I thought the Celtics, again, did not have that pace at the end of the game. The final 3 minutes, 4 minutes, they did not have the same pace they had early in this game. And that started to bite them in the ass as we continued to get closer and closer to the Bucks actually tying it up. So the Celtics had some trouble with the physicality and the ball pressure. They also, I thought, gave a little bit too much airspace to the shooters tonight for Milwaukee. And that's a problem. Yeah, you got to stay attached to Damian Lillard. I mean, you got to stay attached to the hip when you talk about Dame. You can't give him 6 inches of space because he's going to hurt you. I don't care if he's 1 of 25. Final 3 minutes of the game, he's going to hurt you if you give him space. And I thought they gave those guys a little bit too much space. They just didn't play with the same kind of urgency. And Jaylen Brown mentioned that in the post game on NBC Sports Boston with Abby Chin. He said that they kind of let go of the rope. They didn't play with the same kind of urgency. They didn't play with the same kind of energy, and you could feel it. And they kind of just let it slide. So that's a problem they've had in past years. They have to continue to play with the urgency and the energy. They need to understand that when you play against a very good team, when you play against guys like Giannis and Dame, they're not going to tap out. They can be down by 12, 14, 16. They're not going to tap out. It's just not going to happen. So you've got to finish it. Run through the tape, as Chris Webber said a long time ago. Run through the freaking tape. And I thought they didn't fully run through the tape the final 3 or 4 minutes. They ended up winning, which is great. But they had some scary moments there in the last minute and a half because of some of these things that they failed to do. Thought it was very interesting that Joe Mazzulla did not play Kristaps Porzingis much in the final 4 or 5 minutes. I don't know if that was a statement because of the technical foul. And listen, Porzingis has to stop with the text. Stop with the text, Kristaps. Porzingis has been fantastic this year. He's been the perfect addition for this team and what he does on both ends of the floor. But the technicals, he's got to stop. It's getting a little bit ridiculous at this point. He has to stop. You can't get fourth quarter tech. So I don't know if Porzingis sat down because of the fourth quarter tech. I don't know if he sat down because Al was so good. But I feel, especially when the offense is in a rut like it was late in this game, you have to have Porzingis on the floor. You have to have Kristaps on the floor in the final 3 or 4 minutes because offensively, he answers a lot of questions. When you're in doubt, you can dump it down to him in the paint. And he's going to either draw a double team or he's going to get something good, find the mismatch, dump it down to him, and he's going to do work. And so as they're missing shots, they're turning the ball over. The possessions are they're just kind of clunky. That's the time I would make sure Porzingis is in the game. I mean, he went into the game after he sat for a while with 5 personals, which I get. He had 5 fouls. He goes into the game and immediately he knocks down a 3. That's a gigantic bucket by him. But then you sit him for the final couple of minutes. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. I think Porzingis has to be out there as a safety valve offensively for Tatum and Brown. He has to be. As much as I love Al, I think Porzingis gives you that back to the basket, post-up element within this offense. And when you're looking for a bucket that you desperately need, when you need a bucket, and they're harassing Tatum and Brown, and the ball pressure is tough, and they're playing physical, when you need a bucket, that's when you dump it down to Porzingis and let him go to work. That's the reason why you brought him to Boston. You traded for Porzingis because when Tatum and Brown might be struggling or they're getting doubled, he's the guy that you go to, and he can score a bucket. So I thought sitting Porzingis at the end of this game was questionable. It worked out for them. They win the game, which is fantastic. Couple of other things they need to clean up. The Bucks had 13 offensive rebounds in this game. Defensive rebounding has been an issue for the C's. They need to get better on the defensive glass. I will say in the second half, they were much better. In the first half, the Bucks had 10 offensive rebounds. Second half, they only had 3. So the Celtics did improve on the defensive glass. Sustain the urgency and the energy, please. You've got to keep that going. Keep your foot on the pedal until the opposition is completely dead. Don't play with your food, as Giannis said years ago. And the Bucks are going to be tough. They're going to be a tough matchup. I appreciate everybody reaching out and commenting on this podcast and watching this, even if it was for a few minutes. It's the night before Thanksgiving. I knew it would be very slow, but I appreciate you taking out the time. Celtics win tonight against the Bucks, 119-116. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's Cattles on Causeway. Until next time, everybody have a great Turkey Day.